2024, March 18, Monday. No rapping matter. Yoon Jae apologized for inappropriate comments, shows no sign of stepping down. President Yoon Suk-yeol's senior secretary Hwang Sang-moo issued a formal apology Saturday, 2 days after his controversial remarks about 1988 terrorist attack on a journalist and the 1980 Gwangju Democratic Uprising touched off a firestorm of criticism from the media and the opposition parties. I apologize for the distress my words have caused, Hwang said in a notification to the press from the presidential office. I apologize to the journalists for failing to consider the position of those who listened to my story and to believe the families of the victims of the Gwangju Uprising who would not have wanted to be reminded of it. In the statement, Hwang, the senior presidential secretary for civil and social affairs, said he would be more careful with his language and behavior as a public figure in the future without revealing his position toward the demands from the opposition parties and media organizations for his resignation, effectively refusing to step down. Hwang's apology seems inevitable as his inflammatory comments about the two incidents are feared to undermine the standing of President Yoon ahead of the April 10 parliamentary election. Despite the apology, however, there are a host of questions to be answered about why Hwang made such provocative remarks targeting MBC, a major broadcasting station that has been critical of Yoon, and his equally insensitive comments questioning the spirit of the Gwangju Uprising, especially considering his primary job as a presidential aide to communicate with citizens and his career as a veteran TV journalist. On Thursday night, MBC reported that Hwang told reporters an Economic Daily reporter was stabbed in the leg twice in 1988, referring to the case in which the late journalist Oh Hong-gun, who had been the city desk editor of the now defunct Jungang Economic Daily, was attacked by two men near his home after he had criticized the military. The investigations found later that two assailants followed an order from the tech commander of the Korea Defense Intelligence Command, an Army intelligence unit. Hwang reportedly turned his attention to an MBC reporter in the meeting Thursday before mentioning the 1988 attack, saying, "Listen up, MBC. MBC is in a legal fight with the government over its report on the so-called Hot Milk incident in September 2022, when Yoon, while on a visit to the U.S., allegedly used vulgar language. It is a historical fact that Korea's press freedom and democracy were in a sorry state in 1988, so much so that such a brutal and barbaric attack on a journalist critical of the government or the military happened. But it seems shocking that Hwang, a former news presenter for the state-run KBS, dared to cite the past case for questionable purposes in 2024. Hwang said his comments were a joke and asked reporters there to keep the talk private. Aside from the freedom of speech issue, some things cannot be left away. And Hwang's remarks underscore not only his misguided idea about the role of the press, but also what must not be said, even in a private conversation with reporters. According to MBC's report, Hwang also expressed thoughts about the grassroots movement behind the 1980 Gwangju Uprising and claimed there are suspicions that an external force might have masterminded the protest. Given the inaction from the presidential office, Yoon seems unlikely to sack Hwang over his controversial remarks. But if Yoon wants to minimize the impact of his negative image in the run-up to the election, he needs to do far more than temporary damage control, as his approval rating fell by 3 percentage points to 36% on Friday. This partly reflects the protracted walkout by trainee doctors, as well as his hasty appointment of former Defense Minister Lee Jong-seop as the new ambassador to Australia, even though he is still under investigation in a probe into the death of a young Marine last year.